even our funny Coscarelli tried to make a joke. He's like, try dating in New York City. And I was like, was he referring to people trying to take his pockets? Coscarelli.
They trying to run your pockets.
They try to run your pockets
really?
for this iHeart producer money. What they doing, Coscarelli?
Really? They try to get in 50% of your Subway card.
Is
that what they trying to do?
They trying to do Coscarelli, make you Uber X them everywhere.
Is she asking for black instead of pool? Is that what's happening,
Coscarelli?
Mm-hmm.
Is that what she doing, Coscarelli? I have a confession.
Oh.
I have a confession.
I am eagerly awaiting this confession.
I have become addicted to every so often, once a week, twice a week, maybe every day this week, reading her comments. maybe every day this week. Okay. And I noticed that you don't even. I'll be responding to the people. The people are invested. I'll be responding to the people. And you be like, whatever.
I do here and there, but mostly not.
You do, but when you do, it's to fight. Like you be in there and be like, "Shut up, stupid. Here's why." ... My responses are really funny.
Yours are very funny.
Yeah, because
you're more whimsical.
What a wonderful way to describe it. It is a very whimsical response because I'm not about to fight with y'all. Some of them, but the first thing I do get, my first emotion is idiot. And then, so instead of saying that, I'm like, this is somebody in Bangladesh. Bot. Sin.
Right, or you accused him of being my ex-boyfriend.
Yeah, well,
that was
this one guy was like, and another thing about Jemele, talking like they're so familiar, like they know you. I was like, she broke up with him in 2004. Right. Like, yeah. I was just like, you don't even know this
broke
dude.
His heart.
Yeah, I was like, clearly you're still upset. Like, get over it. So I've been laughing because I have no sense, and I'm responding in a whimsical fashion, which I think is actually good for me.
It's healthy.
So I don't take it too personal. But I was in my mind thinking, where are we going with women's sports if every time we discuss women's sports, there are a bunch of, and I don't know, these comments can't be real, right? They have to be bots. They have to be fake people.
I think some of them are.
Because they're making me think everybody, men don't want women to thrive. Like, that's how it feels.
Could it be hundreds of years of history that might actually give you that indication?
I'm just curious. Is it just me?
No.
Like, it feels that way, though. And
it does.
And I don't want to fall into this trap that men don't want to see women do well, period, one. But more specifically, they don't respect women in sport. And I'm all like, okay. I keep trying to move to this theory that the comments aren't indicative of real life. I think I'm wrong.
So you think they don't want women to succeed?
I'm all like, hey, I get what we do. It's Women's History Month. But even for instance, on my personal podcast, on Naked, I interviewed Jane Kennedy, who we love, one of the most...
which was a wonderful interview, by the way.
Thank you. She's one of the original sports broadcasters, Black women, to do it. She was an actress, a model, a sports broadcaster, an entrepreneur, a host. She did it all. And she lived in every bucket when it was impossible. And she tells these great stories of interviews she was able to get. But she talked about how a sex tape that she made back in the 70s became known to the public in the 90s.
Pre-internet for the Gen Zers who might be out there. Like, we did not have the internet there.
The internet did not exist.
Right. So you couldn't go viral.
You could not go viral. And then a sex tape end your career. Now it makes your career. But like, we have changed in this country and this economy. But she was talking about it, and it happened so long ago, and it still hurts her. At 75 years old, it still hurts her to this day. But she has finally gotten to the space where she's like, I'm going to come back and I'm going to do something with myself. My career's not over yet. Not over yet. You know, and I'm like, I love that. But then under all these lovely comments, there's a paragraph from Soccer Dad 288 ooh.
Because there's always a bunch of numbers.
Yeah. Talking about, I saw the tape. It changed how I felt about her. It really
Ain't no way you saw that tape.
It really changed my image of who she was. And so, yeah, I could see essentially why she fell from grace, because the tape was too much. And in my mind, I was like...
Check the browser history. I bet you his browser history does not hold up to that.
Here's the reality. How dare you?
First of all, and second and third of all, how dare you? Because what we're not going to do is come for Jane Kennedy. That's what we're not going to do.
I was so mad.
Yeah, you should have been.
But again, I'm like, am I wrong? Help me understand. Tell me men want to see us succeed, and they don't have archaic views of how we should present
They're
ourselves.
They're not as bad as they come off on the internet.
Tell me that the internet is a lie.
I think a lot of it is, and I do believe that what happens is that, listen, if any of you all have watched documentaries on this, I certainly have. There are orchestrated bot farms that seize on polarizing topics. Gender is one, race is one, politics is another. And, within gender, it's dating, it's all this. Like, I am completely not convinced that there is some huge army of women that are out there asking men for rent 10 minutes into a conversation. Like, I just do not believe this. I don't. I'm sorry.
I was at your house one time.
Oh, and Ian
you tried to check in. Ian was upset. I was like, "Uh-oh, I'm about to be your first
that
family."
Is not my reality. And I was like, "Who has asked you for these things? Who?" I was like, and that's not to say that women are flawless.
Like, all you women want our money.
Y'all just want our money. I'm like, bro, you make $40,000 a year. No disrespect.
What
ain't nobody. We can't do a lot with that. Most of the people who say that, just like when the people talk about prenups, you ain't got enough to split. Stop it.
Listen, you keep your 10, I keep my 20. That's fine. If that's what you want, I'll sign a prenup. You keep your 10, I keep my 20.
It's like, please, fellas.
No, but there's
sorry. It just for that moment, it just upset me because I was just like, because these conversations are everywhere. To your point, I do not believe that men are as awful as some of them come off on the internet. And I would like to believe the same of women or whatever little category that you fit in. No, I don't think it's really that bad. But I do believe that there is a layer of frustration in men that is aimed at women. There's a lot of resentment. We hear all the time about this male loneliness epidemic and how men are blaming women for this and saying because we are doing certain things and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, maybe you guys need to try adapting. I don't know. Evolving, becoming better people.
What do you
go
hating on men again.
Non-stop listening to Joe Rogan and regurgitating his opinions like he's smart. Like maybe if you tried actually appearing like a nice, kind person, that would help. But they don't seem to think of that way. So I don't know.
I don't know. Men are listening to you right now.
I know y'all not that bad, man. Let me just be. Y'all can't be. You can't possibly be.
Right? Men are good.
Yes. Somewhere. I married one. I think he's a good guy.
Right. But this is the argument that we're talking about. We were looking at the video. Y'all remember these videos. If you're on the internet, there would be these memes of girls walking past cars. Remember the little, it was all set up for the internet. Women would walk past a fancy car. And prior to that, a guy would try to say hi to her and she ignore him. And then he owned the Ferrari on the corner.
And it was like, woo.
And then she was like, I'm sorry. Were you talking to me? I'm sorry. Hello? Uh-huh. You have money. Hi. How are you? Mm-hmm. And your husband was like, that's exactly how it is.
I'm like, okay, like if y'all don't see a fat ass walking down the street, that don't get you. All right. If she wore a sign on her chest that said, I'm a librarian, y'all ignore that. But let her titties be hanging out and here y'all come. It's like, we both do the same things, just different. We both have different emphasis or emphasize, whatever you want to say. That's it. It's that we're both the same. All right.
So you're saying both of us, both genders.
Yeah. We be on our bullshit.
Both genders. So
both genders be on our bullshit.
So okay. So can they just give us a break? Why are
especially
you
this month, guys? Just give us a break. It's March. It's March.
Can we love on Jane Kennedy without you talking about you saw the tape and it changed the way you felt about her? What?
At least how that tape got out. It was shown at an industry party or industry event. So that's why whoever said that in the comment is lying. They ain't seen no damn tape.
A lot of people said they've seen. Actually, to be honest, a lot of people said they said that it was circulating. And our good girlfriend BT said she saw it.
She saw the tape.
She said she was at somebody's house and they just put it in back in the day when she was in college.
Who was out there dubbing it? Because that's what you had to do then. Who was out there dubbing it?
Jemele, don't attack me.
I'm not
you the information that the kids have brought me.
Who?
But
Let's get to the bottom of this.
The point of the matter is the more that we talk about, and I know today, especially, and what we're doing every month for every Friday for Women's History Month is highlighting, women and what they're dealing with in very special ways and doing special interviews, which is why we have Lexie Brown, veteran, WNBA veteran. Wow, that sounds crazy. Also, it just says I'm ancient. But on the show to talk about what was going on with the negotiations and how she feels about the play in the league and her future. But every time we have these conversations about women's sports. I just feel like there is a contingency of people who are committed to not understanding what these women are actually asking for, and totally misunderstanding our point of view when we are trying to present a very marginalized population that is just now getting its, and they still haven't got their just due, but just now attempting to get their just due.
I do think there's just some larger conditioning going on because, again, the more that they give women's sports and female athletes this pat on the head treatment, like just be glad that somebody let you lace up some gym shoes.
Yeah.
That can come off condescending. But I will say this in defense of men is that even though...
Good for you.
Even though there is a contingent of them that are knuckle draggers, there are also... the biggest supporters of women's sports are men. Like they make up a huge percentage of the audience. Yeah, with the NBA players, they strongly support the WNBA. So it's not all men, but somehow always a man. Anyway.
Yeah, I don't know. It concerns me how far apart we are. We can have this gender relationship conversation all day. It just feels like we're really far apart. Our funny Coscarelli tried to make a joke. He's like, try dating in New York City. And I was like, was he referring to people trying to take his pockets? Coscarelli.
They trying to run your pockets.
They try to run your pockets
really?
For this iHeart producer money. What they doing, Coscarelli?
Really? They try to get in 50% of your Subway card. Is that what they trying to do?
They trying to do Coscarelli, make you Uber X them everywhere.
Is she asking for black instead of pool? Is that
what's happening, Coscarelli? Mm-hmm. Is that what she doing, Coscarelli?
Well, we know Chalant King would never, right?
Girl.
We'll just end it there. We'll just end it there.
Let me tell you something. Chalant King literally said to me the other day that his job is moving him, and he was wondering if I could do my podcast in certain locations. Chalant King trying to make it to Chalant.
This is chalanting.
Well, then of course I'm running the other way. I'm like, what? How dare you?
You like a chalant? He's chalanting.
Yeah, but have you met me?
Chalant me until you don't.
Yeah, chalant me until you don't.
Chalant me until I don't want you to anymore.
Chalant me until I'm done with being chalanted.
Oh, yeah. Lord.
No, I know. That's why.
Okay.
That's why your girl
save that conversation.
We will. The same guy who was upset with Jane Overton was Jane Kennedy Overton says, and that's another reason why you're single and you ain't never been married.
People always tell you that in the comments.
And I was just like, sir, you know nothing. You have no concept. I love that though, but again, knuckle draggers. The same argument. They bring the same argument to us all the time. It's Women's History Month. If you're commenting, this is to say, if you're commenting on Flagrant and Funny and you're a man, say something nice. I know it's going to kill you. Try this. It's Women's History Month. Acknowledge what these women are trying to do. And just for once, just say something kind, please.
Chalant us.
Chalant us, please. Anyway, is Ian watching the podcast, your husband?
Let's hope not.
Why?
Things are still good at home.
Okay.
I just want you to know.
I don't know.
Things are good at home.
I don't know. Because you came in here cranky today. I don't know.
I was just trying to be focused.
He's trying to be focused and locked in. Okay, so what do we have? We have Tuesday is the deadline. We hope that the women get everything taken care of by then. We hope. Do you honestly, I'm asking you one more time before we dive into this Lexie interview. Do you really think this is going to happen?
11:59. That's my prediction.
20%? You still think I'll get 20% rev share?
I think it'll be close. Between 18 and 20.
Okay, now you
18 and 20.
Okay, housing.
Yes. I think they will get housing.
Okay.
But it will, I think there'll be a concession in there within the housing so that they don't have to pay for it in perpetuity.
Okay.
So, yeah.
All right.
Well, Lexie Brown, WNBA veteran, thank you so much for joining us here on Flagrant and Funny. Does it feel weird to be referred to as a WNBA veteran? Because, to me, you are basically an infant, right? And maybe because I'm 9,000 years old, but I don't know if that sounds...
No, it's so funny that you say that because at AU this year, we had a lot of younger players. And this was probably the first time I really felt like auntie-like in a basketball setting. And I was like, is this how I acted when I first got into the league? Like, I love them. Like, love them down. Like, they were the best. But I was like, this is how I acted at 23, 24. But then when I get into different spaces, I'm like always the youngest one in the room. So it's like, you got to like flip-flop. But I still get treated kind of like a little baby vet. And I think it's the baby face. So I think
that's actually appropriate. Baby vet. And what's so funny is your auntie when you're like, did I act like that? When you start checking people's behavior and you're like,
who making all that sound? Who's making all that noise?
Who's doing all that? And why are you doing that? Like when I find myself in those spaces, I was like, it's time to go. I'm too old to be here.
Yeah, I'm too old for this. Right.
Well, being that you are a vet, you have seen a lot in this league. And obviously, as many people know, currently there is quite the contentious labor negotiations happening between the WNBA and obviously the players. Now, you had some thoughts that you shared on threads that I want to pull up here. Wait, did you start giggling? She was like, I did.
Let me preface this, guys.
Okay.
I got called out by name.
You did?
They basically said, Lexie Brown, come to the front.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Oof.
That was not like completely unprovoked. And it literally, I opened up threads for the first time that day, and there that specific tweet was. I just saw my full name. It wasn't Lexie. It was Lexie Brown.
Right.
Because there's,
it's like they called
Lexie in the league.
That is
popular,
true.
Right?
That is very true.
Lexie Hull. Like, no, they made sure it was Lexie Brown.
Why aren't you doing A, B, C, and D?
Right.
And she was like, let me tell you how I do A, B, C, and D.
I'm glad they didn't, refer to you by your middle name, because that would have really been the whole government.
Or my real first name. That would have been, oh, no.
Well, don't tell anybody, because, you need to be able to walk safely in these streets. But nevertheless, you were responding because there has been some frustration that has been expressed by Kelsey Plum, Breanna Stewart, obviously 2 stars in the WNBA. And your response, because they said that they were not comfortable with how these negotiations are being handled and that there was not enough player representation. And your thread said, well, we, the players who decide to get on the call, speak to the PA, as in the Players Association, and are updated often. I also have a full podcast episode with Terry from last year if anyone would like to learn and appreciate the amazing woman she is and how much she's done for us. I'm extremely well informed and prepared for any situation that comes from these negotiations. And as a veteran who chose to remain under contract, my anxiety levels are relatively low. We just want what's best for all the players and the future of the W. And yes, you are one of, I think, 2 players. Everybody else is a free agent. Yep. You are one of 2 players who remain under contract, as you are with the Seattle Storm. So, Lexie, take us inside. Why did you feel like this was necessary to share publicly?
I think first and foremost, I really felt like I needed to protect Terry and Nneka. One, because I've been Nneka's teammate for so many years, and I see the work she puts in on the court, off the court, to keep her body healthy, ready to go. All the responsibility she has as the president. Like, I see that up close and personal all the time. And then with Terry, even Michael, Jane, like the entire Players Association, there's been a lot of situations in my career. And I don't know if you guys are familiar with my career, but it's been like a hellish roller coaster, to say it lightly. And I've had to reach out to them on multiple occasions throughout my career to ask them questions about the CBA, about, what would happen if I got traded or waived while I was diagnosed with Crohn's disease. Like, there's just like so many things that I've had to deal with throughout my career that they've always been there for me for. So in that moment, I don't want to say that they were attacking Terry or Nneka. I think every player is their feelings are valid. And, I am in those calls. I feel and hear everybody's frustrations on certain topics. And, I think overall we're all frustrated at the W, not at each other. So, but in that moment, I feel like some people don't read things fully or comprehend things fully. And in that moment when I got called out, like, oh, you guys are afraid to talk to the PA, I had to kind of step in and be like, no, that's not my experience. And I stand on that. And I was happy to do it. Like it was easy for me to be like, oh, y'all calling me out by name? Okay, let's go. Because we're not going to talk about Terry like that. And we're not going to talk about Nneka like that.
Yeah, the PA, they put out a statement before saying that during one of the calls that you all had, and one of the meetings too, is that there's been a lot of obviously robust and healthy debate. Terry, she framed it as this is just part of having an engaged player group. Like, this is what comes along with it. You got a lot of people with a lot of different attitudes who have different concerns, all coming together trying to have a uniform kind of a uniform approach. With that being said, I think sometimes people can read this as division. So how would you characterize where the players are? Like, are you guys together? Are y'all divided? Is the house of cards falling? Like, what's going on?
No, I think we're absolutely together. I think at the end of the day, we all want the same goal. We want a deal that's fair and equitable for all of us, right? So how do we get there? Some people have different priorities than others. We have players with mothers who are concerned with things like that. We have players that are very close to retirement. We have players who just got into the league. We have players that were out of the league and back in the league. Like, we have players that deal with chronic illnesses. Like, there's just such a spectrum of priorities and concerns that have been brought up. And I was only in my second season for the last CBA, and I do not remember having these many calls, being invited to this many calls. Like, it's just a very different dynamic that we have, as a union, as a group of players. And I think a lot of us that were really young, early in our careers, when that 2020 CBA was signed, as amazing as it was, we have felt the effects of maybe things that we missed or things that we didn't get right in the last CBA, and we're not trying to do it again.
Jemele and I have talked about this on the podcast. It seems like, or it felt like, as you mentioned, you had to defend, or you felt like you wanted to defend Terry. This makes sense to me that there would be splits or concerns or everyone having different issues. It makes perfect sense. Everyone has different needs. Everyone has a different income. There are different levels. There are the players who are making this, and the majority of the players are here in the middle, and then there are those who are just trying to survive. So there would be different needs. But I am really curious about why you felt like you had to defend Nneka and Terry. Did it seem like players on the inside were attacking her?
When I read the letter, the content of the letter, I just was confused by it. I felt like it was something that definitely could have been brought to them privately. I know they can't control what got leaked and what didn't get leaked, but again, I felt like their concerns could have been voiced in a different way.
And just to stop you real quick, Lexie, just so people understand, you're talking about the letter that Kelsey Plum and Breanna Stewart wrote, the 3-page letter.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. And it got leaked out. So without any type of context, like, I know that, like, that's probably like the worst thing that could have happened when it came to that letter. Like I said, everybody's feelings are validated, but that particular thread that was like sent to me, if they were just like, explain this, I would have probably left it alone. But the fact that they said, y'all are so vocal in the media, but y'all are scared to talk to your players association. And I was like, that was just straight up a lie. It was false. I can call Terry right now and she'll answer the phone. I can call Nneka right now and she'll answer the phone. So that specific language of y'all are scared to talk to the PA kind of put a red flag in my head, because I was like, that's not the case. And I think everybody, if people are afraid to talk to the PA, then they shouldn't be. But again, everybody's feelings are extremely valid.
Well, tell me about the conversations that are being had. Terry characterized it as robust. So when you guys are in these meetings, what are the most valid concerns? Where are you all finding the most disagreement, if you will?
Honestly, it's just, what deal are we going to take? And I know that's like a very vague answer, but with the survey results, like, I don't know if you guys saw the PA sent out a survey to the players of, will you accept the current deal or and keep negotiating, or do you want to keep negotiating and not take this deal? That has been like level 1 of, when are we going to just pivot our mind to like what their deal is, and then like when are we going to start pivoting to different things that we want under their deal, versus, no, this deal sucks, we don't want it, and are we going to just continue to negotiate for something closer to our deal? Immediately after that is the conversation about housing, and that is a priority to everybody. And no matter if you're going to be making a ton of money or not a ton of money, like, housing right below salary, it's the housing conversation.
Were you surprised? Because I certainly was. Kelsey Plum and Breanna Stewart, they're both part of the sort of executive leaderships. They're both vice presidents, for the Players Association. So it struck me as odd that they would feel like there wasn't enough player representation. Have you received any clarity on why they would feel that way when they seemingly have been really a part of this process as it's gone along?
To be honest, no. I think we were all very surprised when we saw that letter, seeing how many people have been in these calls. But again, there is room for more players to be in there. Like, I'm not going to lie to you. Like, it's not all 144 of us in there. Like, that's not realistic because everybody has different schedules and different things going on with their lives. But I mean, if that was the point they were trying to make, like, not everybody's in these calls being seen and heard, then like that's absolutely true because everybody's not in these calls. But you have to make an effort in your schedule, and you got to carve out 1 to 2 hours once a week, maybe every other week, to sit in these meetings and get informed and ask questions and see what's going on. But yeah, I think that letter kind of caught everybody off guard. But it was addressed in that players meeting, and I think we ended it like in a pretty good place. And everybody was able to just be very honest about how they felt about it, why it was written. And, I think, again, it's not division. I think it's just a lot of participation, a lot of voices, a lot of concerns.
Mm-hmm. Not division, but participation.
Yeah, not division, but participation. And that's good to know. It was leaked, I would think. Jemele and I talked about it here. We perhaps as a tactic, so that it would be uncomfortable, and there could be perhaps the thought that there could be division. But if you all say that you were able to rectify what was needed, so be it. I am now looking at March 10th. 11:59:59.
It's in 4 days.
Yeah. 4 days away.
You like, I'm counting them on my fingers. And a lot can happen in 4 days. But I was going through some, as you do, the comments is where the tea lies. And a former player responded to us talking about the CBA, and she said she remembers she was a part of negotiations when David Stern was around. I think she said 2004. And he essentially just picked up the phone and said, "Listen, if you guys don't take this deal by this date, the season's canceled." And that was it. There was no more discussion because of the back and forth. Are you all ready and prepared for that? Are you all ready and prepared for someone saying, "All right, it's March 10th. You didn't take our deal. We're done"?
I would actually hate that so much if that happened. I'm not going to speak for everybody. Is Lexie prepared to not have a season? Yes, I am. Because Terry told us 2 years ago to start saving up your coins. And I listened to her and I believed her. I believed her wholeheartedly.
Okay.
So me personally, if I don't have a season this year, I'm going to be really sad and devastated because I love playing the WNBA. And I think the momentum that we have and all the energy around women's sports in general is amazing, something I thought I would never experience in my career. Do I absolutely want us to have a season? Yes. But if March 10th rolls around and they're like, take this deal or is done, I think that we will figure out a way to still have a season, honestly. Like, we're not going to just roll over and be like, unless the deal is absolutely egregious. Me personally, I'm not accepting a deal that has no housing in it. I can't do it because I just think that's ridiculous, especially with, the proposed minimum salaries or, mid-level salaries are not that much higher than what the max players are making right now, and they have housing right now. So I'm just like, I can't. I'll be losing money, most likely. I want to live somewhere nice in Seattle. It's not going to be achieved.
Yeah.
At all.
Yeah. You want to be comfortable when you come back home. Yeah. If at the very least.
And it makes sense because you have played for multiple teams already. So you're just like, hey, now I can't.
I mean, this apartment in LA, like, I was like, oh yeah, I got me a guaranteed deal with the Sparks. Let me get me an apartment. Bye.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's why they're like, guaranteed deal. That doesn't matter. Like, trades are still possible. So my apartment was empty for 6 months last year because it all happened really fast. So when it comes to that housing piece, they're like, well, you have guaranteed deals. I got traded on a guaranteed deal. I thought I was very safe here. So I'm not the player that you gonna get to fold when it comes to housing, because I wasted a lot of money on this apartment being empty because I got traded on a guaranteed deal with the team that I signed for 3 years.
That is real right there. Like you're speaking about a circumstance that many players find themselves in terms of housing, whether it not be your exact situation, but they need housing. It's important. And if you're saying that's the biggest thing, one of the biggest things that are non-negotiable, where are you at with what did the league offer you all in this latest negotiations and proposal in terms of housing?
I'm pretty sure that everybody would get housing this year. And then next year, it would only be players with 2 or less years, and then the developmental players. And then I think that was just for 2 years. And then after that, no housing anymore for anybody.
And just so people out there who are listening are aware, listening and watching, is that, yes, in the NBA, players get traded all the time. In the NFL, they get traded all the time. And you run into many players who have multiple houses across different states, different places to live, or they can't settle. But it's a whole lot different of a problem when you're making $5, $10, $15, $20, $40 million a year. Like, you can offset that cost. And to me, you can't have it both ways. You can't say, we're not going to pay you enough, and also we're not going to give you housing. Like, one of those got to give. You know what I'm saying? So
right.
I very much understand where you're coming from. I'm curious about your own personal vote. As you mentioned, the survey, at least from what I read in the WBPA survey, 84% of you all voted not to accept the league's latest proposal. Where did you fall in that? Were you a no as well?
That was me.
Okay. You were part of the 84%.
Yep.
Okay.
I said no housing, not for me. Sorry.
Now, with the revenue share part of it, how did you feel about that? Because I think it's 15%.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's still way too low. Way too low. But I did ask in our meeting with the salaries that they're proposing, with the salary cap that they've given us, at what point would we have to pivot our thinking to, okay, what if they really don't come up off this number? What are these salaries now going to look like? Because we haven't even, as a player group, I think the executive committee has had conversations about it. I mean, our dream salary cap was what, $10 million, and they're settling at like 5.5 right now. So at what point do we shift our thinking to how we're going to split up the salary cap? But we haven't even presented the league with our salaries or how the salary cap is going to be split up under their system, because we're still fighting really hard for ours, or somewhere in the between ours and theirs. For me, like, I'm a realistic girl. I'm about to be in year 9. Like, am I ever going to get a max or super max? Maybe. I don't know. But probably not. So for me, like, landing somewhere in the middle is more realistic for me. So what does that look like? And I want that to be enough for someone to, if they want to just hoop for a living and then rest in the off season, or hoop in the living and go play somewhere else in the off season, they'll be able to. Like, they don't have to do all the other extra stuff. Even though I love the extra stuff. I love doing all that. But like, that's not for everybody. Not everybody wants to do that. Some people really just want to play basketball and go home, and wake up and play basketball and go home. And they should be able to comfortably, everybody. Right? So for me, like, salary is important. Rev share is more important to me, because that like more widely affects the majority of us. But like, when I'm looking at those max numbers, I'm like, oh, those are nice and pretty. It would have been nice to, have a chance to earn one of those. But I think it's amazing that that's even an opportunity for any player to get.
I want to pivot a little bit from the CBA talk to talk about your most recent season with Seattle. Your exit interview was very compelling, Lexie. You did not take any questions. You instead pretty much tried to dispel some false narratives about your health. As you have said in this conversation, you were diagnosed with Crohn's disease, and you felt like there was some perception that you were not always healthy, and that there seemed to be some tension between you and the Storm. How would you characterize, or how would you further explain that relationship and why you approached your exit interview that way?
Yeah, I mean, you get traded to a team that is like super excited to have you. Like, that was the whole conversation before I got to Seattle, when I was playing in Nashville last year in Athletes Unlimited. When I first got there, like, oh, we are so excited. We need a shooter. We need to space the floor. Like, all of these things. And I was just like, I mean, I was excited as well. But again, I loved LA. I loved playing for the Sparks. So there was part of me that was like still grieving, getting traded from a team that I loved, been through a lot of hard things with, finally getting back on my feet and healthy, and they kind of just shipped me off. So I was kind of still feeling those feelings, but I kind of had to put them in the back burner to get ready to help my new team. And I mean, the relationship just deteriorated very quickly out of nowhere. And I got a DMP the second game of the year, and I hadn't had a DMP for a long time. For a long time, I haven't had a DMP. So I kind of forgot how that felt. And it was very just random. And it was like a gut punch. And from that moment on, I had a conversation with our head coach that was not very, it didn't really go anywhere. Like there was not really much said. And just over time, the relationships kind of just deteriorated, and I just kind of just got pushed out of the rotation completely. They brought in other players that played the same position as me, and they got, their opportunities throughout the season, like almost immediately. And for me, I just kind of was like, you know what? I have another year here, right? I'm under contract. So let me just keep it cute and be professional. Keep pouring into the rookies and the younger players that we have. And just find a way to get through the year. And that's kind of what happened. This bounce back from Crohn's, like it's been hard. And I've basically not played in the league for like 3 years, pretty much. I had to sit out half the season when I was diagnosed. I wasn't able to finish the year after that. And then last year, like I didn't play at all. So I feel like the last 2 years I've been like, this is the year. This is the year. And I'm like, all right. Like,
it's
this has
frustrating.
to be the year because I got no contract left. So, come on. Right.
Yeah, you're like, this is the year. Because otherwise, right. It ain't the year.
Right.
I understand your frustration, but I want to make sure I'm understanding what I took away when I saw that exit interview is that I'm healthy. Any other conversation outside of that is not correct. Whatever it has been made out to be, just like Jemele just said, not true. Do you think that helped you coming into this year? If in fact there is a season, where do you find yourself with the team and the coach?
New coach, Sonia, is incredible.
You like her?
She made it to Nashville.
Okay.
We had a meeting over dinner. It was great. It's kind of hard to project what this season's going to look like because we have like 2 or 3 players under contract technically. But talking to her was very refreshing. It was probably the longest conversation I've ever had with a head coach in my entire career.
Good.
And it was only like 2 hours.
Good.
So
wow, that says something.
Yeah.
Did she talk to you about?
It says a lot.
Did she say she wants to play you? Did she talk about your future there? Did she talk about what happened? Were you very candid about? I mean, obviously you guys had to discuss the year before.
Yeah, I mean, I think we kind of just let what last season was be what it was because nobody from last season, at least on the coaching staff, was going to be on the coaching staff this year. So for me, it's better to just kind of move on and leave things where they are and not even bring that type of energy, into our new relationship.
Smart.
She thinks I'm an excellent shooter. She thinks I have a high IQ, an underrated defender. These are all things that I think about myself. But we've really just like talked about like just basketball. Like she was with the Memphis Grizzlies for a long time. We talked about, her time with the Liberty. I picked her brain about how they utilize Sabrina in their offense because I feel like me and her have very similar parts of our game, especially like shooting and stuff. So I picked her brain about that. And we just got to get to know one another. Like it was just a really nice, low-key conversation. And we didn't really get into too much like Seattle Storm stuff. So it was kind of nice. It was very refreshing. It was really good.
Now, regardless of the criticisms, and certainly understandable how you might have felt about your former coach, Noelle Quinn, her being fired and looking at the last 2 hiring cycles in the WNBA, no Black women have been hired. In the WNBA, despite being a league that is about 70% Black, there are no Black women head coaches in the W. What is your take on that situation and why that is occurring?
Honestly, I'm not sure why. A lot of the Black women that I know that are in coaching are on the men's side. So maybe they feel more valued over there. I mean, a lot of them are also in college. And by valued, I mean with money, not by treatment, because I don't know, but I definitely know that they are probably getting paid a lot, doing MBA stuff and college stuff. Honestly, I'm not sure why. I definitely know that, as Black women, we get a shorter leash, in positions of power. We have a smaller margin of error. And for me, with my relationship with Noelle, like I mean, it made me sad because at some point, like you were seeing the relationship deteriorate, like with the organization. And I was just like, I don't know what to say because we have no relationship. And I want as many Black women to have all the opportunities that they can and all the opportunities that they deserve. But the way I've been, that's not going to trump how you've made me feel while I've been here, right? So for me, it was a hard thing. Like, even though we didn't have the best relationship, even though I didn't have the best experience, my heart still broke when that happened because I know what it's like. I know how hard it is, and I know that now there's none, which is a very insane stat, honestly.
We were discussing this conversation. I mean, all over. Black Girl Magic might be taking a little break right now. We still magic, but they might be taking a little break right now. If you look around the different disciplines, what's going on? They put us on pause. But I want to know. You mentioned this when you were with the Sparks. Do you feel like the players have any say so, or even the star players have any say so over who gets hired? You watch that relationship, as you mentioned, deteriorate with Noelle and the organization. But what about, have you watched them come to you all and say, hey, we're thinking about getting someone from the front office. We're thinking about getting a new head coach. What do you think of this? I reference this specifically because I remember a time, and Jemele, you may remember this, when the Lakers hired Sparks hired
Derek Fisher.
Oh
yeah. Ooh, that was a disaster.
And on the outside looking in, I remember
I was there for that.
Yes,
I was about to ask.
I was going to say, were you there for that? I was like, and I was like, was she there for that? Because I still, again, we auntie over here. So I was, and that was what. Tell me what that was. No one told you all about that. No one. Was there a conversation about that being had? And here's my overall question: how much input do you all have?
When what? When he was let go or when he was hired?
Either
both.
Or.
Both.
Okay, well, I got there his last season, and they let him go halfway through the year. And I personally, I don't get asked any of these questions. I don't get involved in none of these things. When I was part of a lot of teams, I always had a lot of change and I always was caught off guard. That's kind of when I had the light bulb moment, like, oh, damn, you're not really one of them ones because you're always getting caught off guard. So I was like, let me just make sure that I have a very respectful and solid relationship with everybody because this shit changes so fast. And you have no idea when something is going to change. So me personally, I've had zero input in any of these decisions that have been made. I just have to kind of just react. I've had 8 coaches. I've had 8. And I'm about to be in my 9th season. So I've experienced and witnessed a lot of change, right? And you just have to simply adapt.
You are definitely a grizzled veteran.
As you say, I done had a new coach every season.
Every
just
season.
About.
I was like, damn,
just about.
Sometimes 2 in 1.
Yeah.
Fisher year, I had 2 head coaches in 1 year.
Wow.
Crazy.
It seems like you, I was like thinking, like, I think she might have had more coaches this season.
Girl, I've seen it. I've seen it all. I've seen a lot of things.
Well,
okay?
At least you'll be here, hopefully, during this transformational. Hopefully it will be a transformational CBA. And, Lexie, we just want to thank you for being so honest and candid. not just on Threads, but obviously here with us. And we wish you the best going forward with the new regime.
Yeah.
Your coach is the first head coach of Indian descent.
Yeah, of Indian descent.
In the WNBA. So there's
diversity
still happening.
There's some diversity.
There's some diversity happening.
There's some
diversity wins.
Diversity wins. And I know that you've talked about having Crohn's, but you're managing it and you're feeling well physically. You're feeling
amazing.
Good. Okay, good. I just wanted to make sure. You feel amazing. We want to kill that narrative. Nothing's wrong with me. I've managed it. I'm doing well. That's what you need people to understand as well.
Yeah. I mean, there's some things wrong with me sometimes. But no, my body feels good. I'm healthy. I'm good. I'm ready to go.
They need that spark. They need that energy that you bring, Lexie.
That's all that matters.
No, there's nothing wrong here.
Yes.
Thank you so much for being you and being so honest. And I wish you guys nothing but luck. They got, 4 days? Jemele said it's getting done.
11:59, 59.
I'll let y'all know.
All right.
Some shake.
Give us a bat signal. Just put something up in the sky, and we'll be like, "Yep, it got done."
Yeah, we're gonna text you so we can get your number too, just to make sure that we are in touch and talking to you.
Okay.
We appreciate you, beauty.
All
Take
right.
it easy.
Thanks, guys.
All right, take care. So, Cari, I thought that Lexie had a lot of good things to say. Very insightful, especially giving people some idea about what it's like to be kind of in the middle. That's what she is. She's in the middle. She's a veteran. She's played on multiple teams.
Yeah.
She has faced housing challenges, as she talked about. And so it was good to hear a perspective from somebody who's not a part of the 1% of the WNBA.
The women are just saying, honestly, the bulk of the women, very similar like to Lexie, they just want to take care of themselves. They just want to be, just in case they get traded and they have to pay their rent elsewhere for 6 months. Or they don't want
to go over to Turkey to play. Or
they're not asking for much.
That's not a lot.
They really aren't asking for much.
Yeah.
They really aren't. Like, in the grand scheme of things, they're not asking for much. Pay these women. Please put them where they're supposed to be. And you know what? I wish them nothing but the best. You still have hope. I'm sitting on the fence.
Yeah, I still got hope. I think this is gonna get done. And I know, I know we're only 4 days out, but I still think it's gonna get done. As we come to a close for another fine week at Flagrant and Funny. And hopefully people won't be roasting us over the audio as they were on the YouTube page. I did pay attention to those comments.
Girl, I was so, bad.
But that's okay. But we apologize. We're sorry.
We totally apologize. We didn't know what happened. We'll figure it out.
Yes, hopefully this sounds much better.
Hopefully this sounds better. Jamele's all like, we're building, ladies and gentlemen, we're building. So we're getting there.
Yes.
We're getting there, slowly but surely. We just had a little snafu.
Yes.
It was Jamele's fault.
Yes, totally my fault.
I'm blaming her because women are the problem.
Because we are the problem. Like, subscribe, do all the things for Flagrant and Funny.
That's
and
right.
Follow Cari's orders. Say something nice about us in the reviews. And
women in general.
Women in general. Not just us. Don't have them walk up to a random woman and say something because you might get cussed out.
Or just say you look nice today. Or I appreciate you. Good luck making more money.
What you don't say is, why ain't you smiling? Don't say that. Don't say that. Just say.
And don't ask me about my hair. You don't see me on there asking you about y'all Beijings.
You ain't never lied.
You don't see me talking about your sprayed in part.
We ain't talking about the fact that your hairline receding to the back of your neck. We ain't saying that.
We ain't saying none of that.
No.
None about that bald spot you combing over, but not combing over.
So if I hear one of y'all say something else about me wearing blonde hair, I'm going to fight somebody.
I'm fighting.
Fighting. That's right.
The comment is, I like your hair, Jemele.
That's the comment.
Women's
That's the
History
only comment
Month.
you leave is that you like it.
Okay.
All right. We'll see y'all on Monday for more Flagrant and Funny.